Well, it's time to touch base as we head on into our fifth matchup of the night between Base and k1llsen. Daniel, you excited for this one, mate?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be watching it from the stands with Twitch chat, memeing you. So I'm really looking forward to that.
You will be indeed. We're going to throw you to the wayside because, of course, as we teased, we're doing something a little bit special. DJ Wheat will be coming back in, and me and him will be thrown into the rodeo to cover this one. It'll be a nice little affair. We should bring him on in.
What's up, gentlemen?
Ta-da!
Happy Sunday. What's up? How's it going? CSX, I made sure I saw your sweater this morning. I had to join the sweater gang. So
I'm loving it. I'm also loving the hair. They look fresh today.
thanks, man. Thanks.
God.
It's getting long.
This is good. We've got a good looking panel tonight. We're all looking quite fresh. I feel like we're bringing the vibes. It's a very Geralt look you've gone for, Wheat, I must admit.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Gentlemen. A lot of 3-0s tonight. I'm actually a little surprised, but I don't think our featured matches are going to be 3-0s at all.
No, I wouldn't say so, right? They're looking like they should be bangers, and we're starting off with a brilliant one. Base taking on k1llsen. Always an exciting match. Both of these boys have so much when it comes to Quake history. Specifically for me, I just can't wait to see a bit of Killy. The big man always makes me smile.
I think he's another one that hasn't been living up to the same heights we've seen in previous stages as well. And going against Base, who also isn't looking as hot as he's done before, is a nice little matchup. And I know Base, actually, playstyle wise, can frustrate k1llsen a little bit. There's semi-animosity between the two. So, there's a bit of a storyline, a narrative going on there.
No, I agree. Is taking a look at some of the stats throughout the day, and although k1llsen's played an additional series in this particular stage, right? Base actually ranked a little bit lower, but his performance I don't think he's dropped a map yet, and the matchup that he's had, k1llsen has been not the consistent k1llsen that we expect to see. So Jackie, I'm kind of with you. I'm always looking for the beast to come back out. And I don't think some of the performance levels that we saw from him in season 1 have necessarily hit, but we know they're there. And it's just a matter of, when will the beast be unleashed?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the interesting part about k1llsen as well, is he was always the first to admit his mistakes and say when he feels like his form's a bit off and when he's building back up to it. And I feel like it's got to be a start for him now, right? We're getting quite late into the stage. We're here on week 6. If you're going to come back online, this would be the time to do so. And one of the ways it might benefit him, of course, is based off the back of the map veto. There could be an edge lying for him here. So we'll check that out and see if there is any little gems in the picks and bans.
I don't think we're quite on week 6 yet, mate, but close enough.
This is week 6.
It's week 6.
This is week 6, Dan.
Well, damn. Wow.
This is why I'm being benched. So anyway, we're moving.
We're the worst analyst I've seen.
I swear we're not. I've lost time.
You've lost your
picks
box.
Picks and bans. We've got some multiples coming out again. Vi's the first pick of the day we've seen. Nice. We get Deep Embrace coming out. We've seen some really good games on that, and again, it's one of those maps that unsettles people because it is so new. People are finding their own rhythm, finding their own meta, their own play styles on that. But we have Doom and Ranger, which we saw earlier in the day, so I think people are understanding what they like to pick so far. And then we got a Sorlag on Awoken, which is really, really fun.
Yeah, I like what I see here. I'm excited to see these two actually play it out on Deep Embrace over the last 2 weeks. We've seen it picked at least a few times, and we've started to see some of the different styles and some of the different strategies of Deep Embrace come out. But, I think the interesting one to watch on Deep Embrace is definitely Base. You mentioned, Jackie, a play style that could be frustrating to k1llsen, but that map is not very, I wouldn't call that like a map that I'd think, Base would be super excited to get on. So, I'm expecting to see k1llsen kind of come out. It definitely seems his style of map for sure.
Oh, yeah, I think you're absolutely on the money with that, Wheat, especially because it feels like it is quite similar to Awoken in a lot of ways. So in terms of the veto, I think this does give a good edge to good old Killy. You've got Deep Embrace straight into Awoken, where he can really just feel it out. Potentially the only benefit I can see here for Base is if he is going to play his normal shenanigans where he wants to avoid and try and hold it out for the long rounds, then, yeah, the Doom might benefit him, but that's about it. This is really looking strong for k1llsen.
No, I share that. I think Deep Embrace fits into the way his playstyle plays, as you say, because you can just have such a dominant position up on that high mid ground, and that gives you almost perfect vision of the whole map with the rail. And if he can find his form with the rail, he'll just be picking base apart. So interesting to see how base adapts to that. Definitely favoring k1llsen on the picks across the board.
I do like what you said too about that map, Deep Embrace, going into Awoken, because as we all know, especially from a match perspective, right, momentum is absolutely a thing. I could see, base kind of maybe picking one off of his map pick, but k1llsen with that kind of style of map could go in his favor, pick up a possible 2-1 victory. But I'm curious to hear what you all think about predictions.
Ooh, I suppose really going off the back of what I've seen in the past and historically, especially with that veto, I think I've got to go k1llsen all the way. It feels like it's going to be a k1llsen 2-1 with the first map going to base.
I think last time we saw these two, it was a 3-0 to base, if I remember rightly, quite unexpectedly. I'm going to go 2-1 base. I think his playstyle it gets under k1llsen's skin a little bit.
Awesome. Good job. I'm not going to give it. No. That's a tough one. I mean, literally split right down the middle. Gosh, I mean, if I'm going to make this call based off of performance from the last few weeks, I'm going to choose base. If of course k1llsen can kind of show up in the way that he was showing up in season 1, I would go k1llsen, but I kind of feel I'm with Dan on this one. I'm going to lean a little bit more towards base.
Well, unfortunately for you, you won't have any backup of Dan being there on the wayside. It's just going to be me and you clashing heads as we get into this week.
Don't read Twitch chat, Jackie. Don't read Twitch chat.
Oh, mate, you are a cheeky boy, Dan. But I'll see you later on, mate, when we bring you back after the series. You can mould on the wayside when you're wrong about your prediction.
I'm not being cut.
Wow. Out it. Cut it out.
Oh, get him gone. He's out of here.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
Dan does have historically pretty good accuracy when it comes to his predictions. So
just terrible accuracy in game.
We'll have to. This is true, but I can't really speak much to that. So excited for this one. As we talked about, I think what will be really great to see is sort of like how the momentum, I think the pacing of this match is going to go from a little bit slower to a little bit crazier. And then it's going to be in high gear by the time we hit the end of Deep Embrace. So very excited about this one. And, either way, I still think we're getting an amazing matchup out of this one.
Oh, we've done well with the veto. I think that's the thing. We've won quite well in the terms of the different styles we're going to see, specifically coming out from base early on as well, right? It leans into his sort of camp a little bit. If he wants to play that slow, meaty style, grind out frags, and then just play for the long haul, he can. But it is also k1llsen you're going up against. He can counter that. He's always been really good at map control. He can turn it on and off. It's not always just about his aggression. So that's why it's always an interesting matchup when you get these two going head-to-head anyway, Wheat.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, with Quake, right, some days you feel on with your aim, some days you don't feel so on. And right, it's a matter of like which player shows up, who's got the aim, who's on. Here we go, game 1.
We'll find out who is going to be on top off the back of this then. And as we start it off with Molten. It's always been an exciting bit of fanfare, specifically today as well. We've had some great Molten games, so I can't wait to see where this is going to go. Will Base be bringing the anarchy, or is it going to be k1llsen with a vision to pick himself up a win?
Yeah, I'm, I like this pick from Base as this is what he normally picks, and I'm not surprised to see, Visor coming out for k1llsen. But here we go. First fight there comes out of LG from the top, and it's going to force Base down, immediately loses all of his sack, immediately fires off the inject's going to pick up a light as well. And it went, not necessarily in the favor of anyone, but as we get ready for the mega here, already we're seeing the rails are on for k1llsen. Lands a nice one, does allow Base to get that mega, but right, we're gonna see, but I'm glad to see k1llsen at least confident enough to bring that rail out.
Yeah, he took the fight towards it. There was the potential there. You could see, obviously, he was attempting to snatch away both of the major items in that one rotation. But the rail of base, laying down the law, keeping him further back. And at this point, he's got commanding control as well. So he doesn't need to necessarily go in for that heavy straight away. If he can pick up both of these, that's the dream. Issue is, k1llsen's already there, so they'll split them one apiece. He'll grab the heavy, but he's still got that mega. There's been no chip damage, so his stack's looking pretty darn good. And on a champ like Anarchy, this is going to be a blessing for him.
Definitely. And was interesting there that he didn't just go right for it and try to use that heavy to get it on mega. He knew that the timing was close. He had an idea. So, you know, smart play there. Of course, both of these items kind of very, very close to one another in terms of their spawn. So I'm curious to see how this next one will play out as mega is up again. And let's see. Well, we've got base actually just staying over. He's going to wait, maybe even bait it out a little bit. Either way, he knows that he's going to delay it just a little bit. Might give him the opportunity to now actually head towards that mega and attack on its next spawn.
Yeah, muddied the timings a little bit. And obviously at this point as well, you can already start to get the grips with the type of matchup we're going to have here on Molten, right? It's the map that plays into both of their play styles. If k1llsen's not wanting to take the unnecessary aggression, you can play control. You can match base on every move. And that makes him feel quite uncomfortable because he can't get an early edge. He's not going to find himself a frag where k1llsen's out of control, and then he can just squirrel that away all the way to the bitter end. At this point, it's going to come down to a proper good scrap when they get into the first fight. k1llsen will take a wide swing as he shoots out the rail, but it's not going to land.
Yeah, you know, I said that I thought that the pace of this series was going to start off slow, but honestly, I didn't expect it to start off this slow. A lot of respect being shown there. And I mean, I guess I'm not that surprised, but really both players not wanting to give anything up. There's a huge direct rocket. A base immediately smelling blood is going to chase on after that one. LG does come out, but k1llsen with a beautiful defensive rail on that one, and it's going to force him away from that mega yet again, and rightfully so. You know, he gave it a good college try. He went for it, but you know, that sting from that one single defensive rail was enough for him to say, okay, nope, I'll get back again. I'll grab that heavy. We'll try this one again.
Just the consistent back and forth, the game of cat and mouse that we've seen at this point, effectively trading places as well. k1llsen now down on that lower angle, just waiting to see if base is going to swoop back in. It's 5 seconds till heavy comes up. He knows he's muddied the timing a little bit. He's more paranoid about what k1llsen's up to. If he's going to be lurking around back by mega, of course, if he does work his way back over and go for the catch-up, he will be shut down. Issue is he catches him off from the audio queue. So at this point, they're going to rotate and they'll trade those major items. This is really classic control that's being displayed. But finally, there's a bit of aggression coming out. This is base's opportunity to net himself an early frag as well. 2 rails is a ton of damage, and k1llsen's sustainability comes into question.
Man, he is on the hunt. There's another rail as he flies into that light room. He's going to immediately head on back to the heavy. But that puts k1llsen kind of on the back foot just a little bit. I think base knows he's going to be able to go over there and get the mega, but we could have another fight over here as he just comes around the corner and hits him with that LG as he's falling down. I think that k1llsen was expecting him to come from the other direction, but base says, surprise, here I am. And he pushed him just a few units away from that heavy, picks up the first frag. Patience paid off.
And this is now the worst position to be in when you're going up against base, right? You're close towards the 5-minute mark. You've just given him a first frag. k1llsen knows he needs to re-aggress. He grabs himself the heavy, throws that armor on his chest, and now needs to start pounding it and really pound against base as he pushes his way in, close towards the bounce pad. Rocket raining over his head. He doesn't force the fight, though. Playing quite smart into this. He's hoovering up both of the major items. Base, off of that encounter, hasn't had an opportunity to actually get his stack back. Let's have the inject, and that's the one boon to his name. If k1llsen can catch him, though, set up a bit of a trap here, and at least bring it back to a 1-to-1, it will negate all the work that base has been doing for the past minute.
Yeah, I mean, kind of amazing, right? Picking up that frag, taking solid lead and control over the game, but then k1llsen able to get both of the major items, and base now suddenly, and hits with a rail as well. He is out of danger zone almost immediately after picking up that light. But, you know, k1llsen kind of just retook control there almost immediately with both those items. Now base kind of having to figure out, okay, well, I have the lead, so this is where base is actually super comfortable playing from. But things can change in a matter of moments. Still 5 minutes left on this one. A great rail as base peeks out over the side, and now going to force a fight here at Mega, possibly raining some rockets down below. LG coming out from k1llsen, but the rails from base will force k1llsen out of there. And are they going to go both for the heavy? Well, heavy still has a long time before it is up, but base is trying to get back over to that side that he seemed really comfortable with. He's going to wait for him, and there it is. He injects immediately as k1llsen comes in. k1llsen does get bounced around with the rocket, grabs that heavy, does take a rail, but again, kind of back to square one.
So much work's being done, but it's not really paying off. It's looking quite a lot like a rundown fairground. There's just not a lot to go on for k1llsen at this point, even though he's doing early chip damage. He's just not able to ride it through to the bitter end and get a frag against base. And we're coming up close towards the dying moments of this one as well. We're near 7 minutes. Obviously for k1llsen, late on the rotate back over to heavy. He can pick that up when he wants to. The audio cue is going to be heard. And this has become a new home for base really at this point. Just playing behind the pillars. He's just going to live there for free.
Yeah, you know, which is smart. It could be a little, you know, dangerous. I feel like k1llsen, with enough map control, as long as he's keeping a close eye on that timer, he's just going to wait for that moment to strike. He's been hitting those rails, as you mentioned. He's been getting that chip damage off. But base seems completely comfortable regardless of which side he is on. He's going to fire up an eject and heading off over to the side. He does anticipate k1llsen coming around the corner, hits with 2 rockets there. k1llsen's still in a position where he could fight, and with a few moments left for Mega, is k1llsen going to make his way over here? Well, base puts himself back in the corner. k1llsen sees no one is there, firing a few rockets. I love the direction which he came in, and he steals away that Mega, and that means base is going to head on over. But this is where it gets a little scary, as k1llsen is on the hunt, and he does hit that one rail. Base still scurrying away, but has the lead.
Yes, indeed. And that's the scary part. As much as the cheater of k1llsen will get those claws out and try and go for the jugular, if he doesn't guarantee himself the kill, he effectively guarantees that he will be losing Molten. You give base 2 frags to play with when you're close towards the 1 minute mark, you're never getting back from that. The flicks are coming out as well, but he's not quite landing the 90. Does snatch the Mega. An awkward encounter as the rockets are coming down, but k1llsen's winning it. He's got him trapped in a corner. The 1 HP getaway from base.
Wow.
As he tries to sprint away. How on earth has he done this?
And he didn't even pick up that 25 right there. I'm actually shocked. That was very ballsy. k1llsen knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that he was going to run for that Mega, having missed that heavy. And now base, with just under a minute and 20 seconds left to go, he's got the lead, and he can very comfortably slip into that style that he is fine with, which is just playing the mouse, letting k1llsen be the cat. Oh, but coming up on the heavy, some awkward bounces come around, and k1llsen getting a frag and tying it up. That is not how base wanted that one to play out, but unfortunately that is how the chips fall, and with 1 minute less to go, we are tied.
Now, obviously, it comes to the scary prospect of how do you want to play it in the final 50 seconds. Does k1llsen want to try and take the initiative and guarantee himself another frag, or if they just pass it around a little bit, slow it down, you can wait until sudden death, build back up that stack, and have a much fairer fight to work with, as base is not going to want to get caught out of position. He does barely get out of there, but that is, of course, the ace in the hole for k1llsen. He's got the visor, popping the active ability, gets good, clean sight of where he's going to be. Now it really does start to get risky, Wheat. This is crunch time.
Yeah, I mean, with the 20 seconds left to go, he's going to have, you know, vision basically on overtime, but he's got to, you know, use what information he's got. Great tri-bolt coming out. The Mega is picked up by k1llsen, and some LG drop down from above. Base knows, though, that he cannot really take this fight. There he pops vision just as sudden death comes back up. Tri-bolt is out. He's going to grab that heavy, and there's the rocket jump up. Love that move. Very aggressive, and base is going to answer with that LG of his own. He misses that rail by just a centimeter, and now over to the Mega. Are we going to have the battle to decide it right here? Rockets coming down. Anarch is going to fall. Base, did he make a bad decision? Oh, he lands the rail in the corner, Jackie. I can't believe it.
Oh.
That was so risky. But
Man, that's ridiculous. Like, as if that's the final frag. That's the way he gets it, right? k1llsen thought he had that one on a platter.
I thought k1llsen had that one the moment that base dropped down. I mean, and then that rocket bounce to not put him through the doorway, but the worst possible place that you could end up, which is that corner. I guess he really had one option, and that was, well, I know I did damage. Maybe I can hit this rail, and that's pretty insane. Wow, not what I expected.
Oh, look at the reaction there from k1llsen as well. My goodness. That's a hell of a map as well. Completely different, obviously, style of Quake in the sense of, if anyone was tuning in for the previous series, you're coming in from Sidegib Effortless straight into this, you're probably realizing the duality of the raw skill that can be shown in Duel. Base and k1llsen basically playing the same style there. That was a wonderful display of Quake.
It really was. And we got to see that 1 HP escape yet again. Oh, man, seeing that from bases. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I love it. Thank you for the reactions. That was, oh, man, it like my heart sunk. And then seeing base, of course, celebrate two wildly polarizing reactions, as it should be. That 1 HP escape, though, I mean, talking about that, you know, that's the kind of thing you go back and you watch, Jackie, and you're just like, are you serious right now? Like, are you kidding me? That's rough, but so smart by base. Took a super risk there. You know, shocked that he was able to get away. I know k1llsen had to say, I know all I had to do is breathe on him, and he would have been done. He would have been right. Absolutely insane game. What a way to kick off this first featured matchup.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the crazy bit about it is as well, is it kind of goes the way we were speculating. When you look at the veto there, in terms of the other maps that are coming up now, you can't really play the same style. They're much smaller. The rotations you've got aren't as favorable in the terms of, you know, on Molten, you can pretty much split those major items one apiece every time. That's the dream for a player like base, right? Whereas when we go into Deep Embrace and then straight into Awoken after that, it's not going to be as easy.
Yeah, in fact, I expect the pace of this match, especially k1llsen's got to have, you know, the adrenaline flowing through him. This is map pick. I've got to expect that he is definitely going to bring it, turn it back on right here. And what we saw in that first game, like you said, a split that definitely slowed things down a little bit. I think it's going to get a little hairy in here, and I'm ready for it. I'm all for it.
Oh, it's going to be exciting no matter what. This map always lends it to that more aggressive style, and you've got a player like k1llsen on the server who's going to be a little bit ticked off based off the outcome of the first map. You imagine he will be absolutely giving it. So we'll see where the aggression's going to come from. As base is on the Doom, we've got k1llsen, of course, over on the Ranger. And he's already trying to lay down a bit of damage. As the rail's going out, fully commits to the Dire play. The shotgun's pulled out by base, and that might actually win him the early frag as Big Papa Pump absolutely annihilates k1llsen and secures base the first frag in 28 seconds.
Yeah, it was nicely done. Oh, what did he gotten himself into right there? Nope, there's nothing over there you can go to, but just hiding in the corner trying to get away. k1llsen, though, starting that with the kind of shots that he probably wanted to really be controlling this one. That very nice rail, but we've got base now in the limelight. He lands two very nice rockets. Has really no stack of his own, however, and he's going to make the jump over. Of course, champion on this map makes all the difference, makes it really easy to make it to that heavy, and a great flick rail coming on the side, and another one to follow it off 2-0. And what is this, Jackie? Like, base picked up k1llsen's playbook and is playing right out of it.
Oh, he's had a good old nose through. He's read it from cover to cover, and he's using it in practice. I mean, the rails that are coming out right now are looking sick, and he's really gunning for more of them as well. You know, normally we talk about base's playstyle. He's content with one frag the whole way through for a 10-minute game. He'll keep himself turtled up, he'll squirrel it away, and he'll win it based off that one kill. Whereas at the minute, he is content to scrap. He knows that this map does not lend it to his style, so instead he's trying to lend himself a helping hand by not only doing consistent chip damage, but also getting good control on both of the major items.
You know, and I'm thinking a little bit about, right, we talked about the pace of this matchup, and base is showing us, like, actually, guys, watch this. And I think it has a lot to do with the double jump, right? A little bit more maneuverability. You've got a lot more ways that you can attack some of the, you know, things like heavy, etc. And, you know, sure, the Diorb is there, but it's got a cooldown to it versus something that's just a way I can move around the map. And I do have to say, like, now that I'm seeing this and kind of watching how base is approaching it, it just goes to show that there's a lot of deep embrace that we have not seen, and I have yet to see, which makes me excited, right? A completely different approach to this matchup than we've seen from some of the other players as well. Base now getting that top aerial advantage here, and that's not somewhere I'd expect someone to be, and he immediately flicks that rocket. Unfortunately, it hits the wall. He might only be able to use that one time, and k1llsen narrowly avoids a rocket on his dome.
Yeah, he might have given away the goose on that one, unfortunately. The trickery not quite working out. But there is a transition of rails coming back, and base is in a really rough spot now. Needs to hightail it out as he runs through the murder hole. k1llsen quick on the chase, turns the corner with the LG, but the berserk's going to be popped. Base barely survives this one. If you can at least bait him on the corner, he might get away scot-free, but he won't. He'll be found towards the bounce pad, and it's not going to be a good time for him. k1llsen barely transitioning back over to the rocket as well. Does get one down, but straight off spawn. Base, at this point, he might rename himself Face, because he just keeps peeking.
He does, and I mean, what a way to come back on that one. 3-1 now, and k1llsen, who I don't remember who mentioned the frustration early on, but this is the point in which I think k1llsen might be feeling it a little bit more, right? After that very, very close first game that really could have gone either way. This has to be a little frustrating, especially on his map pick. Am impressed. This is a base style of play here on Deep Embrace, but it's definitely interesting to see. I do agree. It's too bad that k1llsen was not able to convert or take a little bit more control off of that frag. But here we have another situation, this time from down below. Oh, the orb through the bridge, and unfortunately it doesn't get enough to kill. He does a lot of damage there. Base is going to be on the run, but both these guys got some tricks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is looking like a magician, and he made that heavy disappear, winning it, obviously, off the back of that encounter with base, and that's one of the bigger pictures. They do trade the major items. The stack's still good across the board. This is a really rough position to be in. It's a 2-frag lead for base, and again, he's falling into his older playstyle as well. Any nooks and crannies, any little crevices that he can burrow himself into and just hide to waste 15 seconds at a time, that's going to add up over the course of a duel, right? That's going to leave k1llsen in a really rough position when we get into, say, the 7-minute mark.
I mean, this is not a map where traditionally you would expect to not see your opponent much. And base has just been introducing all these rockets the moment he enters any room. Another great set of rockets followed up with an LG kill. That's going to make it 4-1. And certainly not the outcome that I necessarily expected. And I can only imagine how k1llsen is feeling right this moment with 5 minutes left to go. Another fight over the heavy. Some great rails coming out from base as well. And k1llsen just trying to figure out what is my plan of attack here, because so far nothing really has been working. And when base is there, he's been hitting those rails from the middle. There's 2 more as well. And, he's playing with some great control. Double set of rockets. Ooh. Orb comes out, but it won't matter. Base had him tracked, and k1llsen goes down yet again.
It's just working so easily for base at the minute. That double jump paying off in terms of using the high ground. He's always got a vertical edge on k1llsen, so the rockets are far easier to hit. His rails are just quite snappy as well. Like, he's looking crisp. That's probably one of the first few he's actually missed. Instead, though, it transitions back over to the rockets. That'll bounce up, do a fair bit of damage. However, base, he has to retreat. Can't afford to throw away a frag for free. There's no reason to. You've got a 4-kill lead at this point. Don't dilly-dally. Just obviously keep your distance and keep safe.
Yeah, chat definitely echoing a sentiment that I'm sure k1llsen is feeling. Doom feels a little OP here, and I think that's one of the beauties of the map selection, the champ selection, and how that can actually play out, especially here on Deep Embrace. Giving up getting some mobility suddenly plays right into base's style overall. I love what you said about kind of melting away these 15 seconds here, 5 seconds here, and 4 frags doesn't seem like it'd be a huge deficit that you'd have to make up here. But with the way base is playing, even in k1llsen's mind, I'm sure there's a bit of like, hey, even if I get that frag, am I going to be able to stack what I need to tie this up or take the win?
Oh, I think that's the crazy bit about it, right? Because obviously, if you think about our next matchup that's coming up later on with Wenger and Razy going head-to-head, that's one of those where you look at 4 frags and you think, oh, that'll be done in 30 seconds. They'll just keep just duking it out. Whereas here, 4 frags is the difference between a win and a loss on a map like this, where Base, look at the way he's avoiding him. He's being so sneaky. The map geometry just lending to that double jump so much, as all he does is run away. And k1llsen at this point, I'm going to be honest with you, he's got to be a bit tilted with how this game's gone.
I mean, absolutely. I basically base how tilted k1llsen might be based off how tilted chat is, and they are super tilted right now. But give some credit to Base. I know that there's some folks that don't necessarily like the style, but coming with the style of the cat and mouse being the mouse, his defensive rockets and his rail in this matchup have been impeccable. And we'll go back and we'll see a few of those, but some great setups with those rockets. And there it is. k1llsen finally finds it. He used the orb to close the gap, really get in there, and then get it done. So if this is the rallying cry, if this is the start here for k1llsen, he's really got to turn it up. He's got 3 frags to go and 1:40 left on the clock.
And that's the scary part, right? Because obviously at this point, if he waits for the heavy, you're burning your way through your time, but then you at least have a fighting stack to go into it. Your Dire Orb's going to come up as well. So again, you've got a lot of utility to go into your next encounter, but he has to make every second count. It's got to be frag after frag off the back of the spawn. And Base, he's not even moving. Look at him being so sneaky as he hides away. Good Dire Orb, and there's another frag. At this point, you're making the deficit a bit better. 2 frags to do in essentially 60 seconds. And Base is on that Doom with the Berserk ready to just hightail it. This is going to be very close.
Oh, it's going to be a really interesting minute, as I expect just to see a lot of running, a lot of plus back. Okay, the LGs are going to come out on both players, both getting some good damage in there. Shotgun coming out for k1llsen. Knows that he's got an opportunity, and he does. Nails it. 45 seconds left on the clock, and now a 1 frag lead. So suddenly that frustration melting away just a little bit. Ooh. He Dire Orbs in midair, allows Base to get in on some rockets, but it's not going to matter. He misses key critical rockets there, and k1llsen is on top of it. Shotgun coming out yet again, 5-5. But there it is, coming back. Know that he's low. The LG comes out 6-5. And he grabs the heavy as well. He needs some help, but Base regains his lead, and k1llsen looked like he was barreling towards a potential victory here, but Base only has to run for 15 seconds.
And he can't find him. At every turn, when he should have gone right, Base has gone left. And at this point, it doesn't seem like he's going to be left with a chance to win it. 5 seconds as he drops down, gives him one final opportunity, but the time is up. So is the map going the way of Base there. 1 frag. The fight off the spawn sealed the deal.
Damn. Wow. I mean, as we break it down, we're going to see the highlights there. Base, definitely played deep embrace with a Base style, made k1llsen adjust, but k1llsen on 4 frags in a matter of a minute, like really impressive what he put together there. Unfortunately, Base knew exactly just about how much health he had. He took that calculated risk. He was in a position where his back was against the wall, so that it was pretty much his only course of action, but he got that frag out of it to grab the lead, and then went right back into the turtle shell, and it worked for him. 2 games to 0 right now with Base, and I met Dan has a big ass grin on his face right this moment. We're going to wait to bring him in after game 3, but as we go to Awoken now, really just unbelievable game. Fantastic. I loved it every moment. I think Base really showed an interesting and unique way that you could approach Deep Embrace, and I like it.
It was really good to watch, and also it shows a bit of a different style. You're right, because I think that's the thing, where it's still in its infancy now in the Quake Pro League, in the sense of getting the grips with how our pros are going to approach it. This is a different take. It's normally, I think, what we were expecting to see from k1llsen, where it would have been just aggression after aggression, going for those frags, whereas in reality, there can actually be a few angles that will waste the odd bit of time here and there, and that's the final kill that decides it. Basically, 48 stack is the difference between winning or losing on that map. That's so rough, man. You can see obviously the frustration for k1llsen as well. We've always known, right? He shows a lot of emotion, but we're seeing it tonight.
Yeah, we are. And, taking a look at that last frag, it really looked like, Base had an idea where k1llsen was. It had the LG. He got in 60, 65 damage before k1llsen even fired anything back. He was barreling around that corner. Heavy was about to spawn as well. Just an unfortunate little series of events there. But yeah, base takes that one, and we're going to be moving on to Awoken. How shuddering would it be for k1llsen and the fans out there if base was able to take a 3-0? A lot of discussion about base lately here in season 2, his play style, his thoughtfulness and not only map vetoes but champ select. Really, it'd be amazing if he was able to pull that off. But I still do have some faith. I mean, k1llsen's obviously there. He's got what he needs to, but it needs to dig deep to bring back a victory here.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be easy, even if he wants to get in for just this one final map, right? At least it is kind of home territory for him. He's no stranger to Awoken. He normally has some really good results on it. But again, it's the frustration that's going to be playing in. That's another factor. On top of the fact you're on Awoken against base, you're also going into this feeling like you want to flip off your monitor, a little bit upset with how the game's been going. Only issue is, will it be happening again? Or can k1llsen at least get one map and deny the extra points? That's the best possible outcome for him. And it seems like they want to fight straight from the get-go. k1llsen not letting him have any breathing room.
Not at all, and was hoping to land that rail on the exit from base, but base just misses it, feels the plasma or whatever it is, just, kind of bird next to his cheek. But it's going to allow him to get away, kind of reset, slow things down there off the spawn, and we'll live to fight another day. But I think if base, can have his way, he's going to want to slow it down a little bit. A couple of really nice defensive rockets chasing with that LG. Does manage to hit. LG comes out yet again and going to fire it away. It does. Oh, the spit comes out, but it's not going to matter. First blood is going to go to base.
Yeah, picking up a clean kill. Of course, getting the first of many totems down that we are going to see throughout the course of this one. Here's the benefit for k1llsen, though. Again, you're on that heavy champ. You're also on a very fast girl on the saw lag, so use that speed to your advantage and consistently goes in for those early fights, especially when he picks himself up a mega. At this point, this has got to be a kill for k1llsen, but he's sustaining so much damage. Base was on 1 HP. His stack was gone. Oh, that could have been a ridiculous turn of affairs, but he does get shut down, and it gets split 1-1.
I think k1llsen really needed that one, Jackie. I mean, he needed something to kind of go his way. It was nicely played. I'm actually shocked that base wasn't able to pick up the frag there with all those, the direct rocket, and then followed up with a second one in a rail. There's another direct rocket from bases. k1llsen is just going to back off down to 43-39, narrowly misses getting hit by that rail through the crack. Lands one of his own. Nicely done. Gonna help get his health back up here, and he knows that base is low, but base so good at playing the game of hide and seek, and k1llsen just trying to find any angle. He's going to use a rocket jump to try to get back over to the corner, knows that he is over, but the minute he gets there, base is already halfway across the map. Mega is out. He finds him once again in the light room, and he does manage to get it for the first time. k1llsen is in the lead.
First time in a very long time. It feels like he's been struggling to gain any control throughout the series. And here in the third map, with all of that pressure onto him, obviously it can have one or two outcomes. He can use that pressure to turn into a diamond and steal himself one final win, or he can lose all 3 maps on the spin. The one nice benefit we're starting to see, though, is the fact, of course, k1llsen's back. We haven't seen him for a little while, but now that railgun's starting to hit, right? This is how he's going to get into the game. Awoken lends it to that playstyle, especially when he's got so much stack and he can just keep the rail out and hit shot after shot. That's his intro to getting himself a couple of frags. Completely
agree. And if k1llsen continues to hold on to the lead, him being in that mode is definitely going to play big in his favor. Expect the base to do pretty much the same thing. There you saw there from the middle platforms, firing off a rail of his own. Comes around the corner yet again and eats a bunch of damage that he wasn't expecting to eat. His opponent base had that LG out. He's down to 71, no armor, picks up the light. He lands a rail of his own. They actually exchange, and base follows up, and it is tied. And unfortunately, k1llsen can't hold on to that lead. It's going to immediately try to barrel into the heavy room, does grab it. Not much that Base can do there, but he's fine to tie this up.
All your base sub belong to us, and apparently all the frags as well, because he's just taking him to the cleaners now. We're nearly at the 4-minute mark, and it's been brought back to a 2-2 split. But he's so quick on the engagements. k1llsen losing all of his sacks second after second. That was basically in the big toe to finish him off. And now he's just going back in for even more. Bites off slightly more than he can chew in that one, though. And immediately, we're tied up again. What on earth is going on? Are we playing team deathmatch?
Yeah, I mean, back and forth. Both players know that they're kind of in the dire spot, but based off of the spawns and where they go, kind of crazy to see two different back and forth exchanges there. It's still Base in the lead 4-3, and we saw on k1llsen's face there a little bit frustrated at the back and forth, looking for that opportunity to take the lead and then have some control. And look at k1llsen just barreling into that room. He throws the spit out, and it will be worthwhile. He's very low himself, though. Oh my God. Oh, well, we're back to 5-4. And every time that it looks like k1llsen is going to get that frag and be able to bring it back into his favor, Base says, negative, sir, that is not the case, and takes it right back.
k1llsen looking like he is screaming there, gritting his teeth off the back of falling to that starting shotgun. It seems like it started some kind of fire in him, channeling that aggression as he pushes back in. 5-5, Awoken was always going to be the map that would have the most fanfare. And there was nearly a fantastic frag to follow on with as k1llsen spots out his leg, can't quite commit to it. Instead, just gets hit with rocket after rocket. The directs from Base are crazy, and he's slaughtering him, He's got a 1 frag lead once again. He might get ring out, though, because he's quite close towards the wall, but he still wins it towards the doorway. Oh, k1llsen's going to be so frustrated.
I mean, that was a straight up gimme. That was a free lunch given to Base on that last one. I know that he saw it, but k1llsen is saying, hey, the aggression has allowed me to keep up with Base on this particular map, so I'm going to keep on doing it. Not sure if I agree with that one. Pretty nasty brawls back and forth, but you mentioned Base's rockets, and it's not just Awoken, Jackie. They have been on all day long. The amount of direct rockets that Base has hit today is pretty uncanny. And, you know, k1llsen continues to want to fight up against that. His aggression has been working, but he hasn't been able to tie it up and take the lead with it. So I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to pull off there. And there, another exchange of 2 great rockets into traded rails. And now Base, he takes a 2 frag lead, which is not faring well for k1llsen.
Oh, you are absolutely right, though. I mean, that's the crazy thing. Look at the stats now. Both of them are pretty much on 50% accuracy. They both done like 1.6k damage. This is a hell of an Elton John matchup. They're both looking like Rocket Men, and they're living it with the way they're playing it. Obviously, this is where it gets a bit scary, though, for k1llsen, as we're getting into the later rounds, and at that point, Base is going to transition to the rail. He doesn't need all that extra damage, though, so it's just HMG today. Handy with his steal, as he'll earn his keep and keep on moving on Awoken. 9-6. The deficit keeps on getting bigger, and where's the response from the German? When's k1llsen going to show up and really start to punish? Brawling in close combat, but that just makes it easier for the slaughter to occur with the rockets. Splash damage paying off, 4 frags ahead, and not too much time left on this one. It's looking like k1llsen's brown bread.
Another rocket right on his head, another frag given up, and at this point, I feel like Base can feel the heat coming off of k1llsen here. It's just absolutely insane how aggressive k1llsen has decided to be, but you know, Base has been able to easily take advantage of that. I'm not sure, you know, if k1llsen thought that was going to be a strategy that would help him win the game. Certainly, it's probably stemming from some level of frustration. He's still landing rails. He's still making some good shots, but it just seems like Base is just like, yeah, just, you know, throw everything at me, including that kitchen sink, and I'll just deflect it and or, you know, bring it right back. And you know, 11-6 now. This is starting to look pretty bad for k1llsen, and may result in another 3-0 here.
Meanwhile, of course, for k1llsen, it just feels like he needs to call a plumber because his kitchen sink's just come falling in through the ceiling. There is a massive leak on Awoken, and he cannot patch it up. And that's just the fact that Base is all over him time and time again. And the scary bit about it is, Wheat, right? Oh no, not the totem kill.
Oh.
Oh, mate. I was going to say the issue is when k1llsen starts typing, it either means he's absolutely decimating or he's being decimated. And that was a bit of an upsetting sight to see, right? As he goes straight into a totem. If he wasn't angry before, he'll be livid now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's another one. He's just throwing out what he can. Actually gets a lot of damage off. Doesn't manage to hit with that spit. One rail would finish him off there. It's going to pick it back up. And Base knows. He smells that 3-0 victory. And, you know, that's huge for him. Not only in Season 2, but as he continues to just kind of dominate QPL here. If he does 3-0 here, which is looking very likely, I don't think that Base has lost the map yet so far in the matches that he's played. And makes him a very scary opponent. Jackie is a k1llsen coming in yet again. Another direct rocket coming out from Base and through the teleporter. He ends it with the shotgun. 30 seconds left to go. And Base knows that he's got this one in the bag.
Oh, yeah. He's just walked away as the true champion in this series. All 3 maps are going to be his. One content with a shotgun send-off for the final frag, so he does some damage with the rail and just keeps on going. He wants 15 to shut this down, and k1llsen's giving him the opportunity. Look at the flick rails. Oh, he's just going for the 360s. The Mad Lad's just doing pure, unadulterated damage. And of course, k1llsen gifting him the 15th as he goes running into the totem. There you go. Base taking the win. Looking damn commanding tonight, Wheat. That's a hell of a series.
Really good. Really good. Base walks away very happy with that performance. k1llsen, I'm sure, man, a level of frustration. I'm sure we can kind of just see seeping out a little bit in his play in game 3. Understandably so. Base, you know, it is a frustrating style to play against. He plays it very, very well. His aim was absolutely on point. You know, other people who are both happy and disappointed at the same time, well, that would be ZSX, because technically he was right. Base was 1, but he was wrong. It was a 3-0. So sorry about that, Dan. Anyway, congratulations to Base. Very impressive, Jackie. You know, there's a lot of, obviously you think of Quake and you want what we saw in game 3. But I really kind of enjoy watching the 4D chess that Base likes playing in a 3D space. I do think that it, you know, I love what it does to other players, kind of forcing people to play the Base style in the Base game. But I'm a little shocked that it was a 3-0.
No, it was a surprising result. I mean, obviously for Dan, I imagine he's going to be sitting there laughing about it, so we can bring him in and let him lord it over me. We might as well. It's the only time we could really get it over and done with. Here he is. Look at him, thinking he's slick.
Oh, boy.
Not too bad, mate. Probably better off than k1llsen's feeling after that one. What did you think on the series, Dan?
I thought he got manhandled. k1llsen became tiltsen, as chat would say, because he just didn't look comfortable on the server, as Jackie would say. It was pretty horrible to watch the last few minutes of that, if I'm honest. I kind of expected it. Like I said, they just, in kind of play style, they conflict drastically, not in a good way for k1llsen. And he just doesn't know how to play against Base, in all honesty. And you can see as the series progressed, he becomes more rash in his decision making. Even his aim becomes more rash as it goes. And so there were, as Wheat pointed out, so many gimme frags that just didn't happen that on another day when another player would.
Yeah, you know, and it's just I don't, you know, you've got to respect the double jump on Deep Embrace. You just have to. It let Base play that map in a very, very Base way, and I think that really kind of turned up what you were saying in terms of these two play styles not necessarily being in favor of k1llsen and way more in favor of Base. But there you saw it right there on the face, and I think many of us felt that as well. Congratulations to Base. It was very, very well played. I mean, for me, the game that he deserves the most credit on is absolutely Deep Embrace. I was super impressed with how he played that one.
Yeah, I think it's also the fact, right, that he's kind of innovating his style on that map, because it's not as if he's done it time and time again. It's that new blood. And it worked well. He's found already a couple of crevices that he can squirrel himself into when he wants to catch you off guard on the rotates to waste time. And also just the level of aggression he took, which is something that's not normally in his playbook. We saw it a little bit more towards the World Finals, but now it feels like it's a regular occurrence.
But you look across the board, I think every single map base massively outdamaged k1llsen.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show the way in which he is effective, the way in which k1llsen plays. k1llsen doesn't know how to progress onto base, and he loses out in every single encounter. It's something he needs to reflect on.
I mean, we did see that 4-5 frag comeback on Molten, which is right. No, that was Deep Embrace.
Deep Embrace, yeah.
Yeah,
It was like 2-1.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, the glimmers were there, right? That's the k1llsen you know, right? That can come back from a 4 frag deficit with just 1:20 left to go. But you know, then the end of that match is a rough one. It was definitely a rough one. Congratulations again to Base.
Oh, yeah, a deserved win. It also goes to show as well, right? Base, I think even if we think way back into Season 1 of the Quake Pro League, heading into Stage 2 in Katowice, that's where I thought he was kind of dark horse of the competition. I thought it'd be him and Rafa in the final. And it feels like ever since that point, he got into his groove and he's never stopped. Every season he comes back and he performs better in terms of his standings. He then has a deeper and deeper run into the bracket. And he's looking untouchable at the minute. Like, k1llsen, that's no easy feat, right? Any newcomers that might be joining us for the first time today thinking, wow, that was a one-sided affair. k1llsen's got his name on that belt for many reasons. He's no easy player to take down, but Base made it look like it was just easy pickings.
Way to vindicate your wrong call, Jackie, but I'll give you that one.
All right, mate. Look, we can't all be geniuses of the Quake scene. That's your role, Dan. But I'm sorry, mate. I've let you down. But what I won't let the chat down with, of course, is we're coming back in with one final exhilarating matchup. We've got the Maestro Mandem going head-to-head as it will be Wenger taking on Razy when we return after the break.